Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100% You, a podcast which is all about discovering who you're truly meant to be and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Bari Barel, and I've been on the self-development journey for the past 14 years and spiritual journey for the past 12 years. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about one of the most important topics we can talk about, which is your standards, how they shape who you are, your identity, and your entire reality. So, as always, I'll try to make this episode as simple as possible, and everything that I try to do is take spiritual concepts and make them more simple for everyone to understand in our everyday life. So, let's start with today's episode. So when was the last time you asked yourself, what are my standards in each and every area of your life? Standards is such a big topic. When we really think about it, the standards we have basically shapes our entire reality. And once we truly understand the meaning of it, we start looking at our life in a different lens. And why? Because first of all, when you have some kind of standards, you know that you cannot go below that level. You know that this is your worth right now. You know that this is what you're capable to accept. This is your worth. This is your baseline. And you know that everything you can get is from this point above. And before we start to talk about this entire topic, I just want to remind you about the first episode we talked about in this entire podcast. If you haven't listened to it yet, I highly recommend to go and watch it after this episode. And it is the mindset that will actually change your life. And the mindset that will change your life is basically understand that everything that you want, everything that you can imagine, everything that you think that you want, your desires, it's something that can actually appear in your life. When you have a mindset that everything you ever wanted can actually manifest it in your life and can appear in your life, you look and view at life in lens of a progress that you're walking on. You're looking at life as something that you keep evolving and expanding and growing from time to time. And it's something that you know that eventually you will achieve everything that you want or even better. When you have this kind of mindset, standards becomes something that you will face so many times because you understand that in order to expand and in order to get more out of life, you will need to also increase your standards in each and every area of your life or redefine your standards whenever you want to make a new change in your life, to see something new happening in your life. And in today's conversation, I will try to relate it mainly to relationship because I feel like that's where I had a lot of growth going on throughout the past years. And I think you can learn a lot about from it. Standards is something that holds you in each and every area of your life. So what is even standards? As I said, standards is like a non-negotiable rule that you have with yourself that you will never go below that level. Let's say you're saying, I want to be healthy and live a healthy lifestyle. But in order to get to this goal or something that you want, you need to have certain standards. Let's say, eat healthy food, not eating processing sugar, not eating certain types of food, maybe eat more vegetables, more fruits, whatever. So in order to get something that you want, you need to have the right standards that will actually help you to achieve this goal. If you don't have the right standards, let's say your baseline is to eat everyday processed food, not working out, go to sleep very late and sleep just a few hours every night. If you have really bad standards, so it will be very hard to get to this goal of being very healthy or live a healthy lifestyle. In order to live a healthy lifestyle, you will need to have certain standards. Now, if we look at this in a spiritual way, we talked about in the previous episodes about energies and about expanding our vessel. We talked in our previous episode. And many times what people forget that is everything is energy eventually. And if I'll try to kind of compare it to standards and how it looks like in terms of standards. So let's think about a box, okay? A box have nothing inside currently, and the box is open, okay? So there's a flow of energy inside this box. It contains every kind of energy that comes right now. Currently, we are in a very pollution area, and we don't want to contain this pollution inside this box. So we're going to close it when we go and walk in this area that there is high pollution. Okay, so we're going to close the box so the box cannot contain this type of pollution. When we will get to a new destination where is clear energy, there's no pollution there, we'll open the box again and we'll let this new and clear energy come inside the box. Now, what happened in this situation? We set the boundary. We had a standard. This box only contains good and clear energy. So once we got to this polluted area, we closed the box and it could not contain this dirty energy and the whole pollution. Because the box, the standards, the boundary of the box is, the goal is to always stay clean and with good energy or whatever, okay? I don't know how I thought about this example, but I hope you get it. If we would keep the box open when we are in this polluted area, what would happen is that the energy that we have inside this box, the air that we have, energy that we have inside this box, it would mix with this polluted air, energy, whatever. And not only it will impact the entire box, because when we get outside of this polluted area, it will be harder to clean the box. When we'll get to this clean energy place, the box will contain all this polluted area. So it will be mixed with the clear one and it will be much harder to let inside the clear energy. But if we'd keep the box closed in the polluted area and we come to the clear energy area, what would happen? It would be much more easier to let in the clear energy. So that's like a visualized explanation of boundaries and standards. Basically, standards is the boundaries that you have, and once you have a certain boundary, you're not let in the energy of something else to come inside your life. It's basically a frequency. This is my frequency that I am in right now of I deserve this, I have this friendships, I earn this money, I have this house, I have blah, blah, blah. This is the frequency that I'm in. And no matter what, maybe I'm saying this is my standards, and this is something most people, I feel like, get wrong about standards. Many people say this are my standards, but eventually they're not living by the standards they put themselves. And I'll give you soon a really good example about it. And they live by a different frequency, that this is what they're known their entire life. This is what's comfortable to them. Because in order to be in the new standards you put yourself, you need to say goodbye to things that you're really comfortable with. And sometimes when we don't see anything else come in our life, or we never experience something with this type of standards, it's really hard to increase our frequency to this level. If you're watching the video, so you see me doing with my hands, like showing you the energies and stuff. So if this is your frequency and this is your standard, in order to get here in this frequency, you need to make certain shifts that you will not get everything that below that inside your life. And this is the hard work here. Now, I can tell you that my experience, I think I shifted my standards in many areas in my life, but one of the most important and significant ones, I think, was in my love life. And I talked about this also in previous episodes. Thankfully, I've always attracted the most incredible people. That's something that I'm really blessed with, like always. Also, when I was a teenager, like I always attracted really, really good people. And I had really big dreams from really young age. And the area that I grew up in is an area where a lot of people grew up in really wealthy family or families with a lot of money and whatever. And when I was a teenager, after my parents' divorce, we had like a financial crisis in our family and whatever. And it took a lot of years to feel financial secure. And I felt it only after, like, when I started earning money in my early 20s. It was really hard for me to feel that expansion, that I can have everything that I want financially. And growing up in this area where I felt like I don't live like those families, although like from the outside it didn't look like that, because I always worked and I tried to have everything that I wanted for myself. And also, honestly, I have the most incredible parents that always made sure that we have everything and more than everything. So it's not that we didn't have, like, I had everything that I wanted, but still, when you see different type of wealth next to you when you grow up, sometimes it makes you feel less worthy, or like you not deserve to date certain type of people. And for me, when I was growing up, I remember that I knew what is my type. I knew what is my goals in life, what I want to achieve, what's everything. And I remember it was hard for me to feel like I deserved to have this type of person that I wanted in my life, because I didn't felt worthy enough, or I like had certain standards but I wasn't following them. And also, like, I used to attract people that never wanted serious relationship, and I did not understand why, until like my early 20s. So it was a lot of work for me. And I feel like from when I started dating, when I was like, I don't know, in my 15, 16, whatever, I evolved like each and every year. I felt more comfortable, and I felt like I'm expanding myself and my worth and everything, and attracting like people that are a little bit more my type. And I remember something that happened when I was like 20, 21. I realized that I'm attracting good people, but eventually, like, I know what are my dreams. I want someone that would be my life partner. I want someone that will have the same huge dreams as I am. I dreamed very big, and I still am. And I felt like the type of people I'm dating were incredible and really successful and whatever, but it still wasn't like they didn't had the vision of the life that I want. And maybe they weren't like specifically my type physically and everything. And for me, like, all of this kind of stuff very important. Like, I don't want to compromise, and I knew it from very young age that I don't want to compromise. I want to be able to look at my partner and say, this is the most beautiful person I ever saw in my entire life. This is something I don't want to compromise on. And once I realized that's okay, that this is one of my standards, and I know many people would say, no, this is stupid, this is so ridiculous, but no, for me, this is something very important. And once I realized that's okay to feel that way, that this is something that's very important to me, or like, I realized that something that is very important to me is to date with someone that is entrepreneur and dream very, very big, and see himself also like traveling and have international career and want to impact the entire world and has like huge dreams. And once I started realizing that, okay, this is something that is my standards, I don't know any people in my environment that are like that. And I was like around 21. I remember like I didn't met anyone in my entire life that was what I actually wanted. I had certain standards of what I want from a partner, and it was like a huge list and a huge stuff that I wanted, but I never met anyone in my entire life that is like this. More than that, I felt like this type of people are so much more than me. They made, I don't know, they're so much more worthy than me and whatever. And until then, I'm telling you, all the people that I used to date, I felt like no one was, again, I dated incredible people, but I knew what was my worth. And I felt like the people that I attracted, they could not see it. They could not see it, or I wasn't like too much for them or whatever. There was one time I remember I sat with a friend. It was actually, I forgot about it completely. I remember it was summer. I was 21. I was sitting with my friend, and we were just writing and manifesting what we want in our life, what type of partner. And I started like setting new completely standards of what I want from a partner, what type of person I want to date. And I really dreamed like the biggest I can. And then was like, this is the person I want to marry with. This is the type of person, like, this is his type of friends, this is what he's doing, this is like, he's entrepreneur, he probably has already, I don't know, a few companies, or like open a few companies. He's very successful, he's very friendly, he's very nice, well dressed, he's a lot of stuff that I was writing. He's a gentleman, he surround himself only with like really good people. And I started writing a lot of things that were very, very important to me. Also, like how I want to feel in a relationship, how I want him to look at me, and all of that kind of stuff. And before that, I'm telling you, I felt like there were people that I was interested in, and I knew that there were guys that really wanted me, but I never felt something that it clicked. This is something that I can actually see myself with, this type of standard of person or whatever. And I was writing with my friend like what I want, everything. And I remember after dating with someone that, like, honestly, he was just really funny, but like I definitely could not see myself with that type of person. And after I dated with him, and I was like, why are you even dating people like that? You're so better than them. You know what you're worth. But somehow I could not feel that it is possible for me to meet someone that I actually want. So I decided to, no matter what, this is my new standard. And I actually, for the first time, decided that no matter what, I'm not settling for less. I'm not settling for less. And this is something I feel like most people are getting wrong. And I have so many stories from just friends around me that I talk to them about relationships and they tell me, yes, this is the standard that I want. This is the type of man I want. This is the type of girl I want. But then when I look at their actions, they have a completely different actions. Let's say I have a friend that really wants someone who gonna take care of her, gonna pursue her, gonna do everything for her, gonna be obsessed with her, like in a good way, gonna love her so much. But what actually happens now in her life is that she is kind of pursuing him right now and texting him. And he told her that he's not open to a relationship now, but she's still texting him and trying to see him. And from the outside, when I look at this, and I also try to tell her, like, you said that this is your new standard. You want to meet your husband. You want to meet this. You want to have someone that wants you so much. So why are you even going after this person? He clearly told you that he's not open for, he don't want a relationship right now. It doesn't matter if you have a great chemistry. It doesn't matter if you have the greatest bond. It doesn't matter if you see him as your husband. If he is not pursuing you right now, and he clearly told you that he's not open for a relationship, why are you wasting your time? And this is something that I feel many people doing. And I used to do it too in the past, that I wanted someone and I was like, no, we have such a great chemistry. We have this, we have that. And this person clearly told me he's not open for a relationship or whatever. And I was like, no, but like we have such a great connection. Maybe he will want me if I will this and this and that. But that's where the problem starts, because that means you're not really working and taking actions by the standard you set to yourself. And as we said before, this is your standard, this is your frequency, okay? I'm showing my hands if you're not watching the video. So your standard is in a higher level, but your frequency right now is in a lower level because you cannot let go of the old version of you that is texting the guy, that is calling him or whatever. If you want to get to the standard and actually have this boundary in your life, you need to let go of this version. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. Maybe you feel like you're losing someone, but eventually, if this is, remember the mindset, everything that you want, you can achieve and it can happen in your life. But in order to get there, you need to make some kind of a shift. And this shift is let go. Let go, detach of this old version of you, and understand that there is an energy that if you're gonna like take action on this person and text him or whatever, you are feeling the energy of this box with something, with the pollution, with something that he doesn't want right now, or something that is not matching the box that you actually, the goal of what you want to put inside this box. But if you let go, you close the box when there is pollution, and you just keep walking until you get to the clear area, and then you open the box again. Whatever needs to be yours will come inside, because the box has nothing inside, and there must be energy eventually when you open the box, so something will flow inside. So you just need to remember the simple law that when you have boundary, you close the box, and you just wait until you get to something that matching your frequency, the new energy that you want to let inside, and you open the box and let it in. It's hard to sometimes do it, but this is the only way. This is the only way to increase your frequency and actually be part of this new standard. So let's go back to the story. So what happened next is that I wrote with my friend whatever I want. And I remember for a few months, I just felt like I remember it was the first time I dated someone actually, that he was really nice. We had a really good connection. And he told me after like the second or third date that he really into me, but he don't really think that it will go to a serious place, and he don't know if he wants a relationship. And I am, from the beginning, from the first date, it was really obvious that I want a relationship. So And I remember it was the first time ever that I was like, okay, I have a new standard. I actually need to take actions upon it. And before that, if I had really great chemistry with someone, I maybe was thinking about it, and then maybe like it would take me time until I would let go of this person. But with him, I remember it was the first time that I was like very, very clear. Like, I want a relationship. If you don't want a relationship, that's fine. We have really good chemistry. We became like really good friends, and I can see a potential. But like, I want something else. If you don't want that, so like that's what I want. If you want me, you need to match your energy to my energy. And he decided not. And at the same time, I also had someone that I did the same, and he actually said, okay, I don't want a relationship. I told him, this is what I want. If you don't want something else, I'm sorry, but like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And if actually he came back, and then we started dating again, and it was like a huge story. And I was really proud of myself because like, I let go of this person, although like I really liked him, and he matched his energy to me. But that's not the story I want to tell you about. What happened next, a few months later, when I was 22, I was 22 and a half. It was almost a year later that when I set the new standards and actually started taking actions upon them. I went to Jerusalem with my friend, and by accident, we went, and this is like, it's funny to tell it like on an podcast episode, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna help people, so I'm still gonna tell it. We went to Jerusalem, and we got there very, very late, and we went to Shuk Machne Yehuda, to the Machne Yehuda market, and we went to eat something, and apparently it was Thursday night or whatever, so there was like parties everywhere, and we just entered there, and literally on every corner we saw different people partying and different like places. We saw like a friend from far away, and at some point, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what happened, but we went to a bar and we met three people, and they were very cool. Like, we really fast understood that they're not Israelis, they're somewhere abroad, and they just looked really cool people. So my friends started talking to them. They liked us, and they told us, listen, we are from Forbes 30 under 30. We didn't understand like what they're talking about. We knew what it is, but we did not understand what they're talking about. They said, all of our friends in a different bar, do you want to join us? We have like a huge party. You're gonna love it. So we said, okay, sure, let's go. So me and my friend went to with this people. And what happened next was, for me, like a life-changing moment. I'm not kidding. I was 22, as I said. I was doing interesting stuff back then. I was working in a high-tech company back then. I already like had my business. I knew that I'm gonna start the real estate investment soon. I felt like I'm in a completely different place, and I knew what I'm worth already. So we came there, and I remember it was the first time in my life I saw there was like 100 people from the Forbes. It was Forbes 30 under 30 from entire Europe and the States and everything. They all came for 1 week to Israel. And I remember I was just looking with my friend. I was like, this is the first time in my entire life that I see so many people that are my type in one place. And because my type is not like, I don't really like Israelis. I always dated also like people from abroad. I really like, I don't know, international people. I remember I was in this place, and I looked at my friend. I was like, wow, this is like, I never in my life saw so many people that are my type in one place. I usually see someone that is my type once in a few months or like once in a year, because it's so rare that I see someone that is actually my type. And when we got there, everyone that was there from all around the world were like, did something crazy, open companies, did that, did, whatever. And me and my friend we were so friendly. We met, I think, like 50% of the people there. We started talking to them. And at some point, me and my friend became like the center of this entire party. And just so you understand, like everyone know each other there, and we knew no one. And suddenly, like everyone just knew us. And I remember and I was like dressed really nice. And at some point at the party, I realized that the amount of guys that are my type, and they're exactly what I imagined that I want in a partner, entrepreneurs doing this, that, everything that I ever dreamed of. And also the physical appearance, actually my type. The amount of people that were around me and were interested in me and wanted to talk to me, it was insane. Like a few people. And when we finished the evening, we stayed with them for a few hours. At the end of the night, it was like a movie scene. I'm not kidding. There were, I think, 5, 6 guys trying to talk to me and just, I don't know, have more time with me and asking me out. And I'm telling you, almost all of them were like actually my type. And it was insane. It was actually insane. I felt like a princess that day. I'm not kidding. And each one of them did like the most incredible, crazy stuff. And I remember I got back home and and I remember after this event, I realized also it was really funny. I told you, I felt that me and my friend actually bonded their people, and the entire group were in Jerusalem or in Israel for around a week. And it was maybe the last 2, 3 days. And we found ourselves actually making connections between people that we don't know, but we made connections between them. And we found ourselves in the center of this event without knowing anyone, but we left there when we got to meet a few people. And I remember the entire night I told the people there that my dream is to be in Forbes 30 under 30, and I was so excited to meet them because before that I knew no one from Forbes 30 under 30. And it's funny because now like my entire environment, I feel like it's people that from Israel that been there and whatever. And I remember after this evening, I got back home and I talked to my friend and I realized finally that this is my standard. And I felt for the first time in my life that the way I wanted guys to behave next to me or to pursue me or whatever, it was the first time that I felt it in this event. And it was the first time that I felt that guys look at me with admirations and all of that kind of stuff. Because before that, I was just dating people that were completely not my standard because I was afraid to higher my standard and increase it. And what happened next is that I think it was a month later or 2 months later, I dated a person that was like exactly my type. It was nothing like I ever dated before. He was, in terms of physical appearance, exactly my type. In terms of what he's doing, he was like crazy entrepreneur. He did so many crazy things and he was so admired by me. And everything that I ever wanted from a person when I was dating, I had it with him. And from that moment on, every person that I dated was my standard. And maybe I dated much less people than before that, but I found those people even in Israel. And before that, I had the mindset that these people don't exist in Israel. And once I actually took action, as I said before, the event with Forbes and whatever, I told myself, this is my new standard. And I told no to so many people, which was really hard, even people that I was really interested in. I started seeing people that matching my energy. And also it was hard since the first person that was actually my type that I dated after this event. Also, the way I behaved with him, I went crazy because it was the first time I met someone that was exactly my type. And when I realized that this person is not open for a relationship. At the beginning, it was really clear that it's going for a relationship. But then I realized that this guy dated like his entire life and he never had time alone. I was like, I don't want to date someone like this. Like, I know how independent I am. It's really important for me that my partner also going to be independent. So for me, it was hard to like accept it. But once I started to accept it, my future relationships looked different because I knew when to stop and when to set the boundary and when to say, this is something that I want. And if this man wants me enough, I know he will do everything in order that I will be his girlfriend. There's no doubt about it, because when someone really wants something, he will make it happen. And when you start to set the boundary that I accept only someone that is this, and this, and I accept only someone that actually wants a committed relationship, you don't let in anything that is less than this. At the beginning, it will be hard, but once you do it enough times, eventually you will attract something that is right in your standard. There's a good story about Matthew McConaughey that he was doing only romantic comedies. And he was the hottest guy and he was on all the rom-com movies. And at some point, he decided that he wants to get more out of his career. And what happened next is that every time they offered him a rom-com movie, he said no. And I heard the story from a reel on Instagram just a few days ago. I don't remember the exact amount of money, but let's say the first time they offered him like 4 millions, he said no. Then they offered him 7 millions, he said no, of some kind of movie. Then they offered him 8 million, he said no. Then 12, then 14. And when they got to $14 million for a movie, and he said no, because he did not want to take anything below his standard, which is being a star in an action movie or something like that, and not a rom-com movie. The people in the Hollywood ecosystem realized that, okay, he's not kidding. This is actually something that he will not gonna take anymore. He's not gonna take any more rom-com movies. And what happened next is the next movie he got was exactly what he wanted. So many times, and I feel like I'm also reminding it to myself in every area of our life, if we want something, we want to earn more money, we want to have a different career, we want to have different friendships. In order to get there, we need to set the boundary and we need to actually take action upon the standard. I had it also this year with friendships that I realized this is the type of friendships that I want. If I have a friend that is not there for me when, let's say I had a really close friend that I thought she's a really good friend, but when I launched this podcast, she didn't even wrote me congrats or whatever. And I actually called her and texted her that day and the day after and a week later, and I realized that she just disappeared and never from that moment she even called me or said something. After around 2-3 weeks later, I realized I don't want to be friends with her because I want a friend to be there for me when in my highs and in my lows. And if she cannot be there for me when I'm having something good happen in my life, and I don't know, maybe she's jealous or whatever, that's not the kind of friends I want, because I wish for myself to have incredible life, to have a lot of achievements throughout my life. And if a friend cannot be there when I celebrate a launch of a podcast, so she's not a friend for me. And even if I'm gonna have, because I know that I'm the type of friend that even if I'm gonna have the worst day in my life and my friend launched something that she was really excited about, I would text her, girl, congrats, I'm having the shittiest day. I'll get back to you just in a few days. I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you. But I'm sorry, I can't be there for you right now. And that's what I would expect from a friend too. And my friends know it. So my standard was I'm not having friends that are not supporting me. And I actually took actions. And I decided that I'm not going to be friends with this friend anymore because I don't want chaos in my life. I don't want to chase people. I want good friendships that's supporting me, that see my vision. And this is my standard. And I'm not taking anything below that. So look at your life. And this is also kind of connected to the goals you set for 2026. And you see how I'm keep getting to the goals in 2026. And most people forget about it after January. So I'm going to remind you the entire year about your goals. So look at your goals. Look at things in your life, and especially your goals. I think that's like the main thing. Look at your goals and see what are your goals and what are your standards. Because sometimes you say, okay, this is my standard, but eventually maybe your standard is that your next person you're going to date with is going to be your husband, your wife, or whatever. So don't compromise on anything that feels less than what you want. And many people are doing this, and many people compromising on job that they don't want. I had it this year too. I was really open about that. I wasn't working the entire year in 2025, and I had a few job offers. And I remember I was so scared to say no to the job offers, but eventually I decided to say no because it just felt that it's lowering my boundary and like, this is what I want. And if I'm going to accept this, everything that I worked on just will be taken away from me. So I'll give you a few assignments. As I said, go back to your goals, see what the standards that you have to these goals, and then be super clear and honest with yourself, brutally honest. What is the frequency you are holding right now in your life for this goal? Are you taking actions and actually standing on the standards you put yourself? Are you letting in the box the pollution, or only clear energy, and you close the box when you know that you don't want to get something that you don't want? Because eventually the thing that you want will happen, but you need to be patient and you need to say no enough times until the universe gets, okay, he's not kidding. She's not kidding. She actually wants that, and she actually cannot have something less than that. At some point, there always has to be energy. So think about it. If you say enough time no to something that you don't want, something has to come inside your life. Like something has to come inside because you let go of all all the dirty energy you had, all this like old energy, and something must come in. And until you actually take actions upon this, still showing my hands on the video, if you actually take action only on this boundary, eventually something that you want will get in your life. It might take time. You need a lot of patience, but you must believe in yourself in order to do so. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you next week. Bye.